Hey guys, I'm back like that. Got the hat flipped around so I can distinguish between my little video series. Okay guys, so just did a video about the circadian rhythm. It's a real thing. So funny, guys are like, I want the science, give me the science. And I'm just like, Google it. Okay, here we go. I'm such a dork. Yes, I'm kind of a geeky dork. So basically I'm in the park, as you can see, and the other video I was talking about, like, you know, releasing stress and getting endorphins going and connecting with the circadian rhythm by getting light. And I made a conscious decision today to run outside and catch that midday light to get that exposure to the cones and rods in my eyes, the receptor sites that catch light, and on the skin, the cryptochromes. So I can set my clock right so tonight when I go to sleep I'll start getting tired around 9:30 and boom, lights out. That's what's fantastic. Okay, so let's get it going. Let's get it crack-a-lackin' here before I get too into the music. Yeah, I did the video before. I was like, I love this park. It's really close to where I live, and you've just got kids playing, you've got guys playing ball. Really, all they really need here is a skate park. Oh, that would be the best. You guys would see a ton of skate videos. Anyway, I digress as usual. So today I'm going to do a video about I'm going to do a video about carbohydrates. Yeah, these people applaud. Okay, carbohydrates. How much, when, what type, the timing, you name it. I'm going to do a never quick video on carbohydrates. So the reason why you'll see other keto people say go under 50 carbs, and the reason why you see that I'm very strict with saying about 15 and not below 15 because we need our prebiotic fiber and we need the nutrients from our vegetables is because low carb, how low can you go? And high fat. We want to go high fat. In fact, you eat as much fat until you feel a sense of satiety, until you feel full. That was the whole Atkins concept. Dr. Atkins, who was very ahead of his time for the time, but he really didn't talk a lot about getting into a state of ketosis. He talked about weight loss, and he knew that when you combine your proteins and fats together with a little fiber, blush, bam, booyah, and you lose weight. Well, the problem is that for every decade, people get a lot of metabolic damage. Yeah, it's not pretty. So since the 1960s, we used to sleep 8-9 hours, we're sleeping seriously 5-6 hours a night. Now you can lie in your bed for 8 hours, but a lot of people are just getting out of 8 hours of lying around in your bed, even on the weekend. So many of the people, because I keto coach, people will tell me that they are, I'm like, why are you getting up at 9? They're like, well, I lie in bed for 2 hours. I'm like, yikes, ew. But I digress. So the carbohydrate count becomes very, very important because of those reasons. Because the fact that you're going to bed late. Because of the fact that you might have low T, guys. Because of the fact that you might have estrogen dominance, women, and your liver might be clogged up. Your colon might be waxed up with gooky stuff. And you might have leaky gut, which are little holes, and the permeability and the zonulins in your small intestine are open and letting a bunch of crap in your bloodstream, creating issues, cortisol, stress. So basically, when you have too much stress in your body, oh, itch back there, my shoulder. Little puppy over there. Okay, so basically when you have stress in your body goes into protective mode. And unfortunately, we tend to raise blood sugar. Why are we releasing blood sugar for stress? Well, because we need to store fat, because that's what our ancestors would do. You need to store fat because that's our safety mechanism. It is what it is. And cortisol is our friend. You know, it's got a bad rap. But it out of control, too much, it's not good for you. It could actually be quite catabolic and rip everything apart and make you feel like shite. We don't want to feel like shite. We want to be chilling. We want to be chilling to the music in a park on a beautiful day in Cali. But I'm always digressing. So basically, we get down to 15 grams because that's enough to get your prebiotic, which is prebiotics feed on the probiotic, and all your healthy gut wildlife start to grow, and it's so fantastic. I love it. And also, you get enough fiber, yeah, and you get the plant nutrients, which is what we want, So basically, let's get on to it. So, if you're eating around 15 carbs a day, that's enough to drive down your glycogen storages. So when you first try the non-BS diet, if you're an already fit person, awesome, great. If you have no metabolic damage, just go down to 15. Don't, even if you can manage 20 to 30, doesn't matter. Just drive it down so you can get into a highly adapted keto state. So you get your brain to use ketones and beta-hydroxybutyrate. As soon as that happens, it's fantastic. I can go to the gym for 3 hours, and I'm like, my colleagues in the gym, they're dying off like flies. They're like, they're dying off. Whereas I, on the other hand, I just keep it rolling. I can keep going and going. I'm like the ever-ready battery. And that's why I'm getting the gains. Because I'm sleeping, I'm getting 15 grams of carbs, and I'm getting my prebiotic fiber. Okay, so what kind of carbs, shall we say? Well, we want carbs like cruciferous veggies, right? Well, those are the greens. We've got cabbage, we've got kale, we've got spinach, collard greens. We've got all these types of things. But we also have things like broccoli, and we've got we've got broccoli, and we've got cauliflower, and we've got these types of things. These types of veggies, and then when you start like kind of reaching out more, you've got to be careful for the Brussels sprouts. You have to be careful for the amount of kale, because there's the carbohydrate count can be quite high, and some people might overdo. So when you measure your veggie carbs, you want to start off raw. If you're cooking them, start off, if I say to people, sometimes I'll put in their plan between 1 and 3 cups of low glycemic vegetables, and that would be raw before it's cooked. And then when it cooks down, that's what you get over. So that is super important, that being the carbohydrates from veggies. But you've also got to be careful for the tomatoes. You can have tomatoes, but very little, because when you cook them, you're raising the sugar. You got to be careful for the, like there's people all around, I'm like trying not to step on little dogs and all this kind of stuff. You want to be careful for the onions, because they caramelize. If you have the green onions or leek raw, just a little, that's okay. No corn, clearly, no carrots, because they're just way too high in carbohydrates when you cook them. Also, bell peppers are problematic. So I'm just kind of giving you a little quick rundown of the type of vegetables that you want to consider as you're trying the non-BS diet, as I've been calling it, which is the keto diet, which is fantastic. But people are always trying to understand how many carbohydrates. So keep it around 15. If you take 2 cups of spinach, you've got 1.5 grams of carbs. So the carbs are quite low in these cruciferous vegetables, or the green family. So you can load up and put 5 cups or 4 cups of greens, green cruciferous low glycemic veggies for your lunch or salad or cooked veggies. And you could use the grass-fed Kerrygold butter on your yummy cooked veggies. It's awesome sauce. Okay, so basically, what about all those carb replacement meals that people keep talking about? And I'm just like, really be careful on the carb replacement foods like coconut flour and no almond flour. Sorry. Too many carbs, too much mold, yuck, PUFAs, blah, 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 blah. So basically, yes, there are carbs in coconut flour. But I do a mixture between like eggs and flax to kind of like dilute the amount of carbs from the coconut flour. So when I have the meal replacements, the carb replacements, then I don't have to worry about having too many carbs that pass my 15 grams a day level. But with that said, I really don't want people to eat carb replacement foods like cookies and pizza. It might be good for the kids when you're trying to get kids off of like rice flour, because gluten-free is garbage. The garbage packaged, bleh. Don't eat gluten-free stuff because they use almond flour, they use rice flour, and often there's more crap and preservatives and higher carb amounts in those foods than you might find in just normal wheat, which is, don't eat wheat. That's just, I can't believe people are still doing it. It creates leaky gut, it's problematic, ADD, autism, Alzheimer's, and schizophrenia, a bunch of mental issues. People get depression, bipolar, blah, 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 off the wheat. So get off of it now, and if you're doing keto, get your kids off of it. There are carb replacements. But I digress. I just feel like dancing and digressing for a minute. And being funky. Okay, here we go. So, I'm winging it again, you guys. There's no script, clearly. Stuff's like, oh, what next? I think those are the main things that could equate carbs in a day. Some people try to use ketchup. I've got a 1 gram of ketchup per serving. I think it's per 1 tablespoon, and I'll use like 1/4 of a tablespoon on my little homemade hot dogs, because I did a homemade hot dog with the bun video, which is so yummy. If you're going to, what else, use anything in a package, look to see if there's fructose on it, if there's any type of sucralose, if there's any xylitol, that's a sugar alcohol, that's also a no-no. Those carbs count. And a lot of people say do not count the net carbs, just count the total, but I count the net because my foods are whole. So whole foods tend to have more whole fiber in them, like broccoli, for example. I'm definitely going to count the fiber minus the total carbs to get the carbs that I'm going to count in my 15 grams a day. And after that, guys, I think that's it. I'm sure there's more that I'm missing, like coconut milk carbs and other carbs. There's like 0.5 or 0.2 in meats. Those are carbs as well. Be careful for your cured meats like your salami and stuff like that, because there's a lot of carbs in bacon. You guys, if you're going to get bacon, make sure it's uncured. And even the uncured bacon, you'll still see brown sugar. So be very careful for the hidden carbs. Also, when you go out to dinner, they typically marinate their meats in sugar. Like, I went to Chipotle and I straight up was like, okay, which meat has been soaked in sugar? They're like, huh? The chicken. I was like, okay. And then the steak, what's on that? And they're just like some hot stuff. I was like, sugar? They're like, no. I'm like, you're sure? They're like, yeah. You gotta ask, you guys, if you want to be in a highly adapted keto state, then you really want to make sure that you keep your carbs around 15. Now, if you have a glucometer, aka glucometer, you can test your blood ketones, and if you are a healthy, fit person with no metabolic damage, you could probably raise your carbs to around 20, and for some young guys up to 30, but that's it. That's all you need to be in ketosis. Okay, guys, that's it. I'm gonna enjoy the day because it's so darn nice on a sunny day as I get that midday light exposure in my zebra shirt and my funky shoes. I'm just saying. You want to learn more? Go to Stephanie, the business person. If you want to learn more about my keto coaching and why I'm talking so much about thyroid, liver, adrenals, when it comes to getting rid of your cottage cheese and fixing your PCOS, or hiring your testosterone levels, guys, as long as building big, gnarly muscle, you can check me out on my Facebook, which is Stephanie the Business Person, or as I just said, my website, stephanieperson.com. That's it. Dink-a-dink-dink-donk. Stephanie Bam. Hey, Michelle.